Look up the word crazy in the dictionary and you might just find an asterisk beside the definition that says, listen to the Subiquitous podcast featuring Sue Duffield and you'll find out what crazy means. Sue's travelogue journey of unfiltered stories, impossible miracles, and faith-filled fun will be revisited right here. So buckle up and let's get going with this humorous travelogue of an unfiltered saint, Subiquitous.
Oh, it's with great pleasure and delight that the Subiquitous Podcast, episode 25, comes to you live from the palatial Jeff Duffield Production Studios in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on this very epic and important day in election history. And my friends, it's with great honor I present to you the CEO and soothsayer of American presidents and the Three Stooges history, our very own president of If You Got a Dollar, You Can Holler Recording Productions, Mr. Jeff Duffield. Give him a big hand.
I almost feel like I ought to play that again. Yeah, why not? Hail to the chieftain.
Hail to the chief. What are the words? Are there words to the song?
I don't know that one.
I don't know that. I really don't know. I'm sure there had to be words. There are people we can call.
Oh, I don't even know if we have to call them. Let me just see what I can find on my
you're
mystery.
You're going to find that on your mystery little computer there?
Well, it's called Mystery Cell Phone.
Oh.
Internet access. Well, you go ahead.
Well, listen, we are going to have fun. Today is election day, and we've decided, long before election day, okay, Jeff and I, if you follow any one of us in any kind of social media platform, we do one thing, and that is very rarely do we get into politics. Correct, Jeff Duffield?
Most of the time,
Most of the times we stay away from that.
We do.
So today we're going to stay away from the political side and get more into the story side and the history side, and maybe we'll learn a few things as we go along the way, because I think we all can learn something new.
Well, we can learn something new right now.
Uh-oh.
Because...
Yes?
Here are the lyrics
to
Hail to the Chief.
Well, do me a favor. Can you play the thing again and sing it?
No.
I would love to hear you sing.
I'm sure you would, but you're going to hear me read them, and that's, yeah.
Well, then sing it to me.
The band didn't play in my key.
All right, well, then you sing it in your key. Okay, here we go.
Okay, Hail to the Chief we have chosen for the nation.
Okay.
Hail to the Chief, we salute him one and all.
Nice.
Hail to the Chief, whoops, it moved, as we pledge cooperation.
Ooh.
Oh boy. In proud fulfillment, of a great noble call. Yours is the aim to make this grand country grander. Mm-hmm. This you will do. That's our strong, firm belief.
Get in rhythm now. Da.
No, I'm doing fine. Hail to the one we selected as commander. Hail to the president. Hail to the chief.
I thought you were going to say hail one and all.
No, why would I do that?
I don't know. It just sounded like it was.
No.
That would be the ending of the song.
This is hail to the president, not to us.
Well, I know.
Okay,
I'm just being funny.
Yeah, maybe.
So.
There you go.
That is amazing.
And we probably ought to state.
Yes.
Up front at the beginning. Right up at the very start.
Yes.
That there is no implied or suggested or stated endorsement
of any candidate.
Advocacy.
In 2020.
Not on this program.
Not on this particular program.
This is just about presidential
That's
themes.
right. This is what I'm calling this is a great distraction.
Okay. This ain't a presidential rally for anybody.
No. Nope. And not only that, I already said that. This is not going to be a political platform.
Well, I just wanted to restate my case since I am the El Presidente.
Are you really the CEO of these palatial studios here?
I guess so.
I should be so thrilled because you must make an amazing salary.
Yeah. And and if I donate $1 no, wait a minute. If I take $1 salary, that's what it is, not donate. If I take $1 salary, that would be a raise.
Yes.
So anyway.
So I
onward and upward.
Listen to me. I can't talk today. I know because I've known you for almost 50 years.
Yes, you have.
I know that Jeff Duffield is not just a pretty face.
Hail to the chief.
He is an American history buff.
Well,
yes, you are.
a bit.
You are.
I'm not an expert.
And if you
by any stretch
didn't,
of
if you
imagination.
didn't play the piano, and you didn't record, and you didn't get involved with music, my guess is you could have been two things, actually three things. Can I be right? Let me see this if I'm right. Okay, I think number one, you would have liked to have been a baseball umpire.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that right?
I could have done that.
Yeah. I also think
I can make people mad at me. So it's,
I've seen that for years.
it's a gift. Yeah.
It's a gift, honey. I'm telling you.
I never had to struggle with that.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
Okay.
You have become very soft in your older age.
Number one was umpire.
And you've
number
become
two,
so sweet to me.
Number two.
And number two is, I think you would have been a great lawyer.
Well, I appreciate that. I would like to think I would have.
I do. I think you are,
I know. It's funny. A lot of people talk about, well, when I was younger, I used to dream about doing this and dream about doing that, and they ended up doing this.
Yeah.
Well, from as you well know, from the time I was 11 and a half or 12 years old, I was pretty good at music.
Yeah.
And I liked music, and I knew from pretty much that time on, this was it.
Right.
So I didn't, the thoughts of being a lawyer or an umpire,
Well,
they weren't there in the forefront.
And then there's one more.
Okay.
There's one more
Okay.
that you kind of still are.
Boy, oh boy.
Because if anybody brings up anything factually incorrect about history, Jeff Duffield will stand to his feet and say, nay, nay.
A historical
Let's
fact checker.
get this, which is better than a fat checker.
Yeah,
checker.
this is true. This is true. And
But
you got to
it's
make
true.
sure you pronunciate.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. I think, too, that you don't, it's not that you mean to be corrective
rear
in your
end?
process. No. But I've been in conversations where you've held your breath a little bit when someone has said something that's incorrect as far as history.
I've tried.
I know. And then you're just ready to go, no,
Well,
that ain't
here's the
right.
deal, semi-seriously.
Yes.
The old saying is, those who ignore history
Oh, well,
are
I know.
condemned / doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And again, staying middle of the road here, not taking a side,
know,
but there's
yeah.
been much discussion
Right.
and debate in the last month or so regarding the size of our esteemed Supreme Court of the United States.
Right.
Again, staying right down the
It's
neutral.
all right. You have
right
every
down the neutral
right
lane
to say
here.
whatever you want.
No. I'm being neutral here, not saying
Okay.
one way or the other or anything.
Right.
Just stating a fact. Obviously, everyone can agree. There's been a lot of discussion about it.
Sure.
This is not new, ladies and gentlemen. It was tried 90 years ago
Yes.
in this fair United States.
That's right.
And it didn't go so well back then.
Well, and I
So,
think I'm
Nothing new under the sun.
No,
is what I'm
there's
trying to say.
not.
And
No,
I'm
there's
not,
not.
again not giving an opinion on it. There was a lot of grief. As a matter of fact, I'm reading a book right now about this said operation from 90 years ago. It's very intriguing. Very
well, even
interesting.
knowing
Moving on.
Well, and there's a great platform and a great podcast. And I can't remember the name of it, but they are seriously discussing and teaching the Constitution.
Oh my.
And it's just wonderful because most Americans, they don't know the Constitution.
Well, I don't know it as I should.
But here's an amazing odd fact, okay? Do you know people that come into this country and want to become a citizen of the United States within the last 25 years or more? Those that are from other countries that want to become a United States citizen, when they study not only the Declaration of Independence, they study the Bill of Rights,
Right.
and they study the Constitution.
Yes, because they have to answer questions.
Correct. And
Yes.
there are more people that are out of the country that are
Hello.
not naturalized U.S. citizens that know the Constitution
Oh, my.
better than those of us that were born here.
Oh my.
Okay, so that was my political statement of the day.
Well, that was not really a political
But
statement.
I've been very curious. I've been very curious of when there are statements made that go, against what our founding fathers, who were brilliant, who were literally, they were incredibly anointed, I guess is a word,
That's a good
from
one.
God, because how can you make such an incredible document that is just timeless?
It covers all the bases.
It does.
And it covers things that were not known and could not have been known 200 some odd years ago.
They had to be prophetic almost in a way. All right, so we're get away from
we're not doing dun, 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 dun. So let's do
here's a couple of trivia questions for you.
Okay. Oh boy.
All right.
I'm not the world's greatest on trivia.
Now these are 5th grade presidential trivia questions.
Oh boy.
Can you stump a 5th grader? You know that program that was with
well, you're about to stump a 65-year-old.
All right. So I want to ask you, what 4 presidents are carved into Mount Rushmore, South Dakota's Black Hills National Forest? What 5th graders know this, Jeff Duffield?
Well, some. I've met some 5th graders.
You ready? All right, take it. All right, let's go. Number 1.
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln, correct.
Washington.
George Washington, correct.
As the Three Stooges said, Teddy Roosevelt.
Correct.
You didn't think I knew that one,
I know.
did you?
And
you didn't think I knew that one.
A very important president.
Now you got me stumped, and it's not Roosevelt. But
no, he was early on, real early.
Yeah. Jefferson.
Yes. See?
When I stop and think about it.
I'm so impressed.
We're also over-modulating.
That's
I think
okay.
we're a little
That's
excited.
Right. I got too excited.
Let me back the E-modulation button, and then we won't be sounding to people listening to our podcast.
You are as smart as a 5th grader.
No.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 2.
That's not saying much for 5th graders.
All right, here we go. Here's another one.
Yes.
Before his claim to fame as a movie actor, this U.S. president was also a sportscaster.
Right. You really this one you're not stumping me on. Geez, if you just watch old B movies at night,
Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Correct. That's very easy.
As they said, Dutch.
That's a 2nd grade.
I got
question.
Donald, Ronald, and Dutch.
He was paid $10 a game, by the way, plus transportation expenses.
A lot of money in those days.
And it's a far cry from $11 million salary as an actor 10 years later.
Right.
Oh,
he did okay.
All right. Now we're going to get a little more to the 6th grade questions. All right.
You're going to stump me now.
I think this is I'll give you a hint. This is probably one of your favorite presidents, I think.
Okay.
We'll find out in a minute.
Okay.
Who revealed that the U.S. had a hydrogen bomb in his last State of the Union speech?
That's a good question. Not as easy as you would think. I'm going to guess that it was Ike.
Oh.
Dwight Eisenhower. No? Wow. So JFK?
No, Harry S. Truman.
No, a hydrogen bomb? He revealed it. Really?
Yeah, Harry Truman.
Okay.
Because
he dropped the 2 atom bombs, of course.
Yeah.
He didn't drop them. He ordered them dropped. Let's get it correct here. Well, you stumped me. There you go.
I'm impressed though so far.
See, that one's a misleading one because your first thought would be, no, it's not Truman because, the hydrogen bomb came after the atom bomb. And that's why I said it might be Ike.
So give us a little Jeff Duffield snippet of history from Harry S. Truman that stands out.
Well, Harry was
he was brash, wasn't he? He was very And guess what? He was also president.
He spoke his mind
in 1955 when we were born.
No, sir. No, ma'am. No.
Who was president when we were born?
Ike.
Oh.
Ike.
No. Okay.
Truman left
I made myself 10 years older. I'm so sorry.
Truman left office in 52.
Okay. I apologize.
He was sworn in. He was sworn in 45, April 45, when FDR died.
That's right. That's right.
Filled out his term, and which took him to, let's see, I want to say, he had almost 4 years of FDR's last term because FDR died not long after being inaugurated again. He was inaugurated that spring in March or January, and and then he passed away in April. So he had 4 years there, which took him up to 48, the election of 48, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
44, 40. Yeah. Election of 48, and he ran for his own term and won that against Dewey. That was the one that everybody expected him to lose.
That's right.
And he lost.
That's
or
right.
he won, rather. He
And he
defeated Thomas Dewey.
And the rock group,
Until 52.
Chicago, had
Yes.
a great song called
Yes.
Harry Truman.
Yes.
Back in I think it was the late 70s, early 80s.
Maybe a little sooner than that, but yeah, in that period.
Something like that. But it was good.
Yep.
But his famous...
the famous
his-
saying was in his 48 campaign against Thomas Dewey, the governor of New York, by the way, Republican governor of New York. Some of us listening to this going, New York has had a Republican governor.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah,
It's
believe it
hard
or
to
not, they
imagine. There
did.
was one time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, the phrase was that someone yelled out to him from making a speech on the back of a train.
Oh.
And they yelled to him from the crowd, give them, should I say this?
Yes.
Can I say this?
It's,
this people won't think I'm not a Christian, right?
No. Listen, it's in the Bible. I'll just say.
True. They yelled to him, give him hell, Harry.
Give him hell, Harry. That's right.
And his response was to that, I don't do that.
Right.
I just tell the truth. They think it's hell.
It's a great line. It really is a great line.
Harry was
it's eternal.
he was also very earthy.
Was he?
His daughter Margaret was an aspiring opera singer.
Oh, that's right.
Very aspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Very. And she gave a concert in, I think it was the Lincoln Memorial? Constitution Hall, excuse me. She gave a concert in Constitution Hall, was not well received by the general public.
Oh.
And a music critic for one of the Washington papers wrote a rather scathing article critiquing her performance.
Wasn't that great?
It wasn't. No, she wasn't. Not as far as opera singers. Did not go down in the annals of history as a great one.
They're so judgmental out there.
I've heard
people
recordings.
are so opinionated about singers. They're opinionated about them.
Yeah, I've heard recordings. Anyway.
Well, here's another question for you.
No. We can't move quite yet.
All right. Well, remember, we got a lot to talk about.
I know. Let me finish the story. It will be over quickly. President Truman wrote a letter to this music critic suggesting that if they ever meet on the street, that the reporter is going to require a piece of beefsteak for his eye and a supporter for another portion of his anatomy after President Truman got done with him.
Oh, he's going to take his legs out?
A little higher.
Oh,
Just
no.
a little higher.
We're not, no.
I'm only repeating history here. Harry Truman was rather earthy.
Yes, he was.
He was rather earthy and spoke his mind. Moving on to the next
All
point.
right, so here's one for you. Let's see, your love of history, your love of American history, also blends with sports and American history in sports.
Okay.
So this question is both.
Okay.
What U.S. president threw out the most opening day baseballs?
Ooh. I have no clue.
Well,
I would only be guessing.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
He probably was the longest president in the White House.
Well, that would be FDR.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so, that was before the term limits and all of that, correct?
There were no term limits until FDR died, and Congress after that set term limits.
I don't know how many, but somebody said somewhere around 9.
Well, it's quite possible.
Yeah,
he was
9.
president for 12 years. There were 30. Yeah, he was president for 12 years.
I think he threw out 9 opening day baseballs.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And quite a few of them were with inferior baseball talent because 40 to 45, most of the good players were in the service.
Right.
Fighting the war.
All right, here's another fun question. Okay. I don't know if you'll know the answer to this or not. I was like, wow, this is... But it's something, it's part of our history. Okay. Who's the only president to have survived 2 assassination attempts by
Assassination.
Assassination. Hold on, let me fix my plate.
Yeah, good. Stick it in there. There you go.
Who is the only president to have survived 2 assassination attempts by women?
Gerald R. Ford.
Wasn't that one Squeaky From and what was the other one?
Yeah, that was her.
We were right there in Gerald Ford Museum in Grand Rapids.
Well, those women weren't there, but we were in the library.
They weren't there.
They had the mock-up of his cabinet room, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I got to look this up.
And I got to sit in his mock-up chair.
Yeah. But speaking of a museum,
Yes.
I love the Gerald Ford Museum.
It was a lot of fun, very interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there is a lot of sports memorabilia as well as presidential memorabilia.
Well, Gerald was quite the athlete in his college days.
Right.
As I understand it, I believe was recruited to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
When he was younger.
That's right.
Some would say, and it was made. The comment was made about him years later.
Okay.
That he was a lineman in football, and that was part of his problem. He'd take too many hits to the head. But
wow.
That's kind of a cheap shot.
Yeah, that's a cheap shot.
But nonetheless,
right.
good man, and did had a lot of difficult things to deal with when he was in office.
Yeah.
It was a difficult situation for him. I felt bad for him at the time.
Okay.
And anyway.
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Okay.
Sarah Jane Moore.
There you go. That's her.
No, that's interesting. I don't know
And
why
Lynette
I couldn't remember
Squeaky
that.
Frome.
Squeaky Frome.
To my knowledge,
Part of the Manson family.
both one was Frome I'm not sure about the other one, but yeah. And as far as I know, Frome is still in prison.
Yeah, a lot of these.
You take a shot at the president.
You know,
you're going to be there
yeah,
a
I'm
long
going to say, you
time.
might as well just say bye-bye.
Yeah, you're going to
prison
spend
ministry the rest of your life.
Yeah, pretty much. And the other one, Sarah Moore, I'm not sure she's even alive today. That was we're talking 46 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so more in dealing with our era,
Yes.
since we are the wonderful age, we are Medicaid and Medicare card carrying adults.
That we are.
So, what White House lawyer first revealed the existence of an enemies list and hush money at the Watergate hearings?
John Dean.
Yes.
Well, this is
Very
easy because I lived it.
I know. Well, not everybody that lives things can remember those either. You know what I'm saying?
I watched it on TV.
Yeah, I know we did. And we were very captivated by the whole Watergate scandal.
Are we in the Nixon era now?
We are in the Nixon era. We can be.
Can we talk about the time?
Yes, we can. See, I answer for you before you even get
You're doing
there.
your Karnak, and if you're our age, you get that.
You have something that happened to you that never happened
My
to
eighth
me.
grade,
I'm so impressed.
My 8th grade class trip
Right.
from Seabrook School in Seabrook, New Jersey,
Yes.
was a trip to Washington, D.C.
Oh, look at you.
Mm-hmm. You took one too, didn't you?
I did, but I was nowhere near where you're going to talk about.
Well, you didn't have my connections. We took the tour several places. I don't really remember all the places that we visited. I want to say the Smithsonian was one of them, and the Capitol building was another, but I'm not certain of that. It's been so long ago. However, one that stands out, we had taken the community open public tour of the White House.
There you go. Wow.
And they were leading us down the street in single file, like good 8th graders, down a side street that couldn't, wherever it was. And a man walked by me, and while we were walking in line, I looked up and dates myself. He had one of those film cameras, the old United Press International film cameras on his shoulder.
Okay.
With the stock and the whole bit, one of the old time. Anyway, he looked at me and said, "If you want to see the president, you better hurry down the street."
Oh, what did you do?
I hurried down the street.
Yes, you did.
And down at the end of the street corner, 5 or 6 of us, my classmates.
Yeah.
And I have verified this, by the way. I've sent messages recently to our classmates
To bring it back, yeah.
that I thought were there, and 2 or 3 of them said, "Yep, we were there." And in a small little semicircle,
Right.
as we got to the end of the street, here comes Richard Milhouse Nixon out of the office building,
Right.
walking across the street to the other part of the executive offices there.
Okay.
And he stopped and talked to us for about, I don't know, maybe a minute and a half or 2 minutes, and shook several of our hands.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably within 4 or 5 feet of him.
You didn't get your hand shaken?
You know, Here's the deal.
You know, Jeff Duffield, let me just say something. You had the epic opportunity of your life.
I have kicked myself for this for many years.
Oh, no.
As hard to believe, at that time in my life, I was a very shy person.
You came out of your shell around 1969, if I recall.
Well, you are who you hang around. And but as a child, I was on the shy side, and I was standing there. My mouth had to be hanging down on my chest.
You were awestruck.
I was in awe because here I'm standing like 4 or 5 feet from the President of the United States.
Yeah,
So
and
I was
then
quite impressed. Anyway, if I had just done one thing, if I'd have made my arm, brain to arm, extend out straight. If I had extended my arm out, I would have
press the button like Inspector Gadget.
That's all I had to do. Stick my hand out, and he would have shaken. He would have shook my hand because he went, 3 or 4 right in front of me, and we were all standing like in a circle. It wasn't like I had people in front of me.
Right.
And but nonetheless, he was a newly minted president himself at that time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's my story of greatness. And then, of course, the one time when we were in Detroit many years ago and happened to be goofing off one night.
I think in 1980.
1980, and the Republican convention was going on at Joe Louis Auditorium.
Right.
And for you and me and friends of ours were just goofing off at the parking lot behind the building.
Yeah.
Standing at the corner there, and here comes a motorcade.
And there they go.
And this big Cadillac limousine turns the corner, and you and I are standing on the corner, literally at the end there as the car turned, and the aforementioned Dutch Ronald Reagan was in the back of the limo,
there
and he looked out and waved to you and I and our friends.
We were like by ourselves, so he
was
wasn't like
nobody else
waving
there.
to the crowd. He really was waving to us.
For whatever reason, it was an abandoned. At that point, there was nobody else on that street corner.
No,
but us happened to be standing there. Everybody else was in the convention, I guess. And sure enough, he pulled around there in his motorcade and looked out the window and waved at us.
Oh, man.
So that's our brushes with greatness. Others have much more interesting and exciting stories.
Well, and then, we grew up. We talked about this before going on the air today. Jeff and I grew up in a neighborhood, at least I did, I know, in Penns Grove, New Jersey, and Jeff growing up in Bridgeton, New Jersey. And it was really almost... it was an obscure time of where you didn't know who voted for who. I mean, there would be obvious, Democratic platforms and Republican platforms. But when it came down to voting day, there were times I didn't even know who my mother and father voted for.
I didn't know which direction my father.
They didn't talk about that. They didn't talk about
until he was older, much older.
Yeah.
Almost to the end of his life that I know really how he felt about a lot. He never mentioned political parties and which way he voted.
Yeah, and I feel it was almost like a private thing.
You
didn't say, well, I'm
No.
And
generally speaking, I'm sure people got in
arguments.
arguments.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Well,
and then you could
I'll
do
say
this though. Okay.
I'll say this about that.
Okay.
Let me say this about that. I am not a crook. Can we edit that out?
No, leave it in.
Okay. Anyway, back in the day, let's just say this. Traditionally, the two parties had the same goals for the country. We just had different ways of getting there.
That's true.
And I think we've kind of gotten away from that.
Well,
and that's as political as I'm going to get today.
Well, that's okay. And there is a polarization, and there's also a severe judgmentalism that if you even say one single thing, that you will be
careful now,
greatly criticized, no matter where you go. I mean, it's either way. I've seen.
Oh, there's no doubt.
People that don't have my belief system, who are have other beliefs, and they are absolutely entitled to that as an American citizen.
Yes.
Where they get jumped on and criticized and heckled and all of that. And it's just interesting that we are in this day and age of where if you have an opinion, it's almost like you have no right.
You have to agree with whoever you're talking to.
It's more about becoming, let's be grace-filled, and let's make everybody feel good. And we've talked about this over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so As we close this particular episode, Jeff, I want to say to you, I am so grateful of one thing that we can do during this election year.
Which is almost over.
It is almost over as we speak. Yes.
Thank God.
And move on and
Yes.
move on. And, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like something. We're always going to have that as an American citizen.
Absolutely.
But we have to agree to disagree. And one of my online friends is a polar opposite of me politically. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we have become great friends online.
Mm-hmm.
I respect her as a writer. I respect her as her opinion goes, and I respect her as a person of great influence.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen.
We don't have the same political
you and I do not agree on every last thing.
Well,
I've been trying to get you over to the right
let me just
side
talk to you
for
about
many years.
that.
I should
When
say
you
the
finally come
correct
around
side.
to my thought, then it becomes a very, very nice place to live.
As the comedian Jeff Allen says, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? And for many years, I have been
I
the
know.
happiest person
That's
in the
right.
Duffield family.
But the one thing we can do, and we're going to close,
Yes.
the one thing we can do is pray
Yes.
for our
Yes.
future president. Pray
Yes.
for whoever's going to be elected.
Yes.
Pray for those who are in leadership around us. And
Yes.
really, as a Christian, that is my job.
Yes.
My job is not to criticize. My job is not to
Well,
do any
we're
of that.
allowed to. That's the great thing about this country.
We can.
have the
That's right.
freedom to criticize. That's
Right.
okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a tradition as old as the United
Yeah.
States.
But I'd like
you're
to
right.
think-
You're right. Our main responsibility is to
Well,
pray for our leaders.
yeah.
The scriptural admonition, as they say.
And it's a higher calling.
Yes. Yes.
Higher calling.
And I will say this, and then you can close it up real fast. And that is, like I posted on social media recently, I have traveled around the world. I have seen different countries. I will say this emphatically. This is the greatest country
It is the best country in the world. It is.
Closed case. No argument. I don't want to. That's one thing I will not discuss and argue about. It is. We've got a lot of problems.
Right, we
We've got
do.
a lot of things to work on and fix.
we do.
And we're going to have problems as long as we exist because we have human beings living here and we're not perfect.
That's right. All right, one
But this
final-
is the best place.
One
Case closed.
final trivia question for you.
Oh dear.
This 5-star general president didn't just become president, and he not only was a general, he was also a painter.
Ike.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
My bike likes Ike.
Yes, he does. And we are done.
And can I play the Hail to the Chiefs?
Yes, play
theme?
it again. It helps me as we exit.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 25, Feeling Very Presidential. And we have today, we thank you for your gifts and your kindnesses and your cards and your letters and your emails and your responses and your posts. And we have jumped greatly from October. This month has just been off the charts for downloads and for people subscribing to the Ubiquitous podcast. All that because I think we just need a little levity in our life. And like I've said before, we're often imitated, but never equal. But let me tell you something. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that only through him we can see the kingdom of God. Only through Jesus we can. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to get on SueDuffield.com. There are many ways that you can help support our podcast. And also our Thursday evening Couch to Concert series where we actually sing and have a good time on Facebook Live and YouTube. If you have any questions or comments by far, all you have to do is send us an email at radiosue@me.com. We'll see you next week. I'm feeling very presidential, and hey, let's pray. See ya.